Innoson, the EFCC arrest, and the GTB loan. Perhaps you want to know that the Innoson GT Bank story gained renown, especially following the arrest of the company's chairman and chief executive, Chief Innocent Chukwuma. The man granted our TVC an interview in which he claimed he got a court judgment of 8 billion naira against the GT Bank. And according to him, the GT Bank pleaded an inability to pay the money, whereupon he, Innocent, graciously accepted shares of the bank as payment. The twist in the tale is, of course, the interest of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, in the whole saga. This morning, we expect to get through to Chief Innocent Chukwuma on the line, but let me introduce my studio guest. Evans Ufeli is an attorney at law. Merry Christmas to you.
Merry Christmas, sir.
How much of the Innocent saga do you understand as you sit here?
Well, from the reports we have in the newspapers and other media platforms, it is that there is a financial transaction, a commercial transaction between Innoson and Guaranty Trust Bank, for which over the years they have been partners in business up until the altercation that resulted to the arrest of Innoson by the Economic and Financial Crime Commission. Now, if you look at the structure, there are two sides of the story, even more than two sides of the story, because
There's always a third side.
Yes, that's the side not seen.
Yeah.
And EFCC has alleged, okay, that the Innoson had, engaged in some shark practices, okay, for which, upon that, a petition was written against him. And from that, the EFCC came after Innoson and arrested him. Now, Innoson on his part have said that the bank, was owing him a certain amount of money, and they refused to pay. And now they have decided to use EFCC against him so that they can shut him down. And the public interest in this also is that perhaps EFCC is going after people who have brought ethnic coloration to it, that because he's from the southeast. I don't understand how that played in this matter. But in Nigeria, people bring a lot of things that because the man is from that extraction, that there was an Ibeto sometime that was also crushed down, that Innoson is also going to be crushed down. That I think that is not really what the issue is. The issue is about who did what, when, and how. Who is the culprit here? Who has committed an offense in between the story?
Was there a transaction possible? I have Chief Innocent Chukwuma himself online. Chief, how are you? Merry Christmas to you.
Okay, Merry Christmas to you.
How do you do?
I'm very fine.
Good. Welcome to our program.
Thank you very much.
Now, let's look at the genesis of the whole thing. Was there a transaction between you and GTB? And please paraphrase it briefly for us.
Yes, there's a transaction between me and GTB, and the whole transaction went well. Only that later I find out that GTB took some certain amount from my account. When I discovered it, I wrote them officially. They replied. Finally, we went to, when they replied and confirmed the money they took from my account, I discovered they took about 780 million from my account. So
Naira.
I discovered that they took 780 million from my account. I wrote them, and they called independent auditor with the EFCC, all of them with the NDIC. They cross-checked and wrote me back. Even EFCC wrote me back that they found out that they took 550 million, pushed the bank confirmed in writing that they took 550 million. I said, okay, my own record is 780 million, but now you already accepted 550 million. Okay, how can you pay me back? They said they will pay me back with a 7% interest in writing. in writing. I said no. The time I borrowed them, I paid them 22% interest. That they're going to pay me the same 22% interest. They disagreed. That's why we went to court. After we went to court, I get a judgment against them, and the judgment said that that money will be paying me 22% interest until they pay the money. So when they see the money is increasing every day, because this is about 6 years ago, when the money is increasing every day, in the judgment date, it was for 4.7 billion. Today, it's about 9 billion. So they went to appeal. Appeal said, as soon as they accepted taking this money, now they will bring the money into appeal court. If anybody that's willing will take their own money, they refuse. They went to Supreme Court and they don't want the case to go on Supreme Court. Every day they find one paper or the other. Yeah. Finally, they use EFCC to come and arrest me on doing nothing.
Let me pause you there for a while. They used the EFCC. Are you insisting the EFCC was used by the GT Bank?
Yes, EFCC was used by the GT Bank. Because up to today, EFCC have never told me what I did before the arrest. You understand?
But okay. At what point did you agree that whatever was owed you should be converted to shares in the bank? Is there any such thing?
No, they go and file an affidavit that if they pay me this money, that the bank will collapse. I tell them, why are they issuing this type of affidavit? If they pay me, as long as they have agreed that they owe me money, if they pay me, if they will have problem, let them give me part of the share, because it's their mistake by taking my money.
Okay.
Yes.
And they agreed?
No. I just said it. They never agreed. What person I see is to call EFCC to come and take me and harm me.
Okay, Chief Innocent, don't be emotive here. The idea is not to raise passion or emotion. It's so that the man on the street will understand what we are talking about. Okay. Can you talk about shipping documents and so on? Okay.
The whole shipping documents was endorsed by them, and they pay all the duty by themselves. Nothing happened with the shipping document. Everything was genuinely, fully released. When I told them that they released the shipping document, I told the EFCC that they released the shipping document by me, for me. And they registered it in their register book. If they said they are not the one that endorsed the shipping document, let them bring their register book. They said that they will bring the register book. After some time, they did not bring the register book. Even EFCC was angry and wants to withdraw the matter from the court. Okay. And because I told them that all the shipping documents were released by them, and it was fully registered in their register book, that if they bring their register book, they will see the whole thing there. They say that the register have been bonfire, that it's not available again, that they have burned. I say, why? If the register have burned, it means you don't want to bring it out. Because I haven't heard any day that the bank will get fired.
Yeah, Chief. Again, can we quickly talk about alleged falsification of people's signatures?
Nobody. Shipping company confirmed that the signature was duly signed by the GTB. The account officer who released the documents for me confirmed that the bank authorized the release of the shipping documents. But those people, they don't want to call them again in this matter. They bring somebody who I don't know, who doesn't know, who wasn't there, and saying that the signature were forged. They are the people. If they forge anything, they forge by themselves. I have all my records for it. And all the record of the transaction is with me. I didn't lose anyone.
Let's quickly talk about cleared goods. It is alleged that you cleared the goods using Connie way, if to put it that way.
I cleared my goods in genuine way, the right way the goods were declared. I wrote a letter to the bank. Send the one letter I wrote. I said in that letter, endorse the shipping documents for this clearing agent and issue him this receipt. And they did it. And register in their register. And they did it. It is when I win them in the court, they are finding a way to harm me. That's why they are forging all these things. But something like that is not in existence.
It is also said, allegedly, that the goods were reportedly taken by you as part of the collateral?
No. The goods is not the collateral I gave to them. I gave them my property, worth about 1.4 billion as a collateral, and I paid them 25% of the total sum. Yes. So, and they agreed that any of my goods that are lying, they will release the documents for me because I give them collateral over that. The shipping document is not their property. You understand? It's not the security of the transaction.
Chief,
and I have paid them.
Chief, understand that we as a media house are the man in the middle. We don't take sides. It is for the interest of your friends, your relatives, and Nigerians as a whole. Are you listening to me?
I'm listening to you.
I'm saying, because when you paint the picture of the EFCC being employed by GT Bank to harass you, you are sending a bad message.
Yes. If EFCC invite me, I will go and explain to them. But the problem that they did not invite me, they did not tell me anything. I'm in the court with them because EFCC wrote a letter and withdraw the matter from the bank. I said no. I went to appeal on withdrawing the matter from the bank because they see that the bank did not bring their legislator. They decided to write a letter to withdraw the matter out of the court. So I said, I went to appeal and said that they should continue and they should continue the matter. I went to appeal on that and it's on. The next thing I see is EFCC the jump into my house. So I don't expect that. That's why they don't want to tell me why they came.
Okay. So that we save you a lot of palaver. Are you still in business with the GT Bank as we sit here?
Well, yes. Before when I discovered that the GTB is taking money from my account, I stopped business with them.
Okay.
Because I feel that they are thieves. So that's why I said they must pay me the money before we continue new business.
Again, you are still in court, so we rest the matter there. Once again,
we are in a Supreme Court now on my judgment.
You are in court, so our business is not to arm twist the Supreme Court. So let's leave it at that. What we wanted to clear is the fact that the EFCC or the police cannot just jump into your house for no just cause.
I'm shooting tear gas everywhere. I have a child of 4 months old, and they are putting tear gas on him. But
it is said that some of your men refuse them entering into the house.
No, they are inside my house. I see them. I think they are kidnappers. I hide myself until I see men with his police uniform because they came in around 5 o'clock to 5:30 in early morning. So I feel that it's the people that want to kill me. So when I see such people jump into my house, I decide to be by the side. Let me understand the people. And finally, I see somebody with the police uniform when they are shooting. Then I come out immediately. They say I'm under arrest. I ask them, arrest on what aspect? What do I do? They say that the EFCC supposed to give an instruction to come and bring me. So I said, no problem. I joined them to their office.
All right, Chief. If there's a development from this end, we'll get back to you. Thank you. We wish you well.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Chief Innocent Chukwuma, Chairman, CEO of Innoson Motors. You heard this story.
Yes.
As we say, there's always a third side to a story,
yes,
which in this case is the truth.
Yes.
But we have established that there was a link between him and GT Bank.
Yes.
Something went awry. You know, the whole thing went ugly, and the center cannot hold.
Yeah. Now, even though we have not heard physically in these details from GT Bank,
yeah,
you know, he has given the account of a story.
His own side. His
own side of the story of what transpired, really. What I want to state here is that if the EFCC is aware before now, because from what he said, that the EFCC have been in the matter, have been invited long ago into the matter, even before this arrest. So if the EFCC have been in between this, at what point did the GT Bank now approach EFCC with a petition upon which there's a reasonable suspicion that, because EFCC cannot just go and arrest people And EFCC, from the best of my knowledge, cannot be employed, except they have changed the rules. The law that brought them into existence empowered them to make arrests when there's reasonable suspicion of financial and economic crime.
And EFCC is not officially a debt collector?
They are not a debt collector, really, except if there's a change in the game or if someone is doing something illegal.
Evans, but you get a little disturbed, I'm sorry, you get a little disturbed when the man at the center of it all is telling you that the EFCC was employed by the bank to hound him.
Yeah, maybe that is how he sees it. That is how he perceives it, because one is left to wonder why EFCC would go after him if EFCC have been in the matter even before now. That's the question, because from what he said, the EFCC was not just brought into the matter right now. They've been in it for a while. So perhaps one can excuse him for reasoning that way, that EFCC had been used, possibly, or maybe unknown to EFCC. The petition against Innoson, perhaps I had issues that could not be clarified. But normally what EFCC would do was to invite him, okay, which EFCC said they did. But he just told us now that EFCC never invited him.
All right.
So that is why, you see, from EFCC, from GT Bank, from Innoson himself, the stories are different. There are allegations and counter-allegations. You didn't invite me. EFCC said we invited him, he refused. That is why we went to his house.
Evans, please let me take James in Abuja. James, welcome. Merry Christmas to you.
Merry Christmas to you too. Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you are on.
Oh, okay. All right. Thank you. Concerning this GT Bank and Innoson issue, I think you guys have done well to invite Mr. Innoson to tell us his own side of the story. But I think you should also do well to invite GT Bank, because you see, GT Bank cannot continue to tell us.
We are working on that. We are working on that. We are working on that. Go on.
Because so far, everything we've heard from GT Bank is they don't want to say anything because they owe Innoson the responsibility to.
Are you there? Okay, blackout.
Yeah. So,
yeah. But James has made a very poignant point here.
Yes.
There are three sides to a story. In this case, Innoson's side, yes, GTB's, and the fact. Yeah.
The fact, yes. Now, you see, what I want to say about the GT Bank is that in financial transactions like this, if it is true, because he said in writing, they wrote that truly they mistakenly took funds. I don't know whether it's mistakenly or inadvertently, but they took funds from his account, okay? If it was a mistake, then the GT Bank have to explain to Nigerians, because they owe us that responsibility as a corporate body, you know, doing business. They owe the society that obligation to explain how this thing had happened, because
Evans,
sorry,
we can't discuss this alone. Yes. The viewer is interested. Yes. Mazi Okora for Merry Christmas is calling from Arochukwu. Welcome.
Sir, good morning, sir. Good morning, again.
I greet you.
From the Mass Africa.
All right.
I thank Chief Innoson for participating in this program. My brother, God bless you for your effort to help alleviate poverty in Nigeria by employing thousands upon thousands. Nigeria as a country, we should borrow a leaf from Zimbabwe. Look what happened in Zimbabwe. See how the government is moving, how the plan moves. We should stop intimidating people who are helping the poor. God will judge all us. Now, my question I want to find out from you, sir, Mr. Jones.
Yeah.
You say, like one of the first caller said, we should have what we call a balanced investigative tool. I've not believe you can link up with the bank people. Tell us their own story. In as much as the man has told, Nigeria will know exactly, and only Nigeria themselves to judge. We're supposed to let them flash the document, what they say on this screen for us.
Yeah.
So that Nigeria will know exactly what we want those documents to be flashed on this screen.
That's it.
Everybody will not judge. We don't need to go to Supreme Court or Appeal Court. Thank you very much.
Mazi, before you run away, my trouble is when you, an opinion leader, have already, you have said that the EFCC is intimidating. That's the message I wanted to be managed, very well, so we don't spread the rumor, the poison. If you understand what I mean, Mazi. Okay. when intimidation, you know.
I think EFCC should also employ decorum in carrying out their assignment or response, because if he was never invited, then I think I'll fault EFCC on that. It is only when there is invitation extended to him and upon refusal that they should carry out such kind of action, going at the dead of the night or the early hours of the morning, to arrest someone of that, anyone really, you understand. So EFCC should deploy a bit of a civility in, so that the society will not consistently and persistently see them as an intimidating organization.
Evans, let me take Olanrewaju here in Lagos. Good morning. Merry Christmas. Adewale, I beg your pardon. Adewale, welcome.
Good morning, sir.
I greet you. Same to you.
I think I love your program this morning, especially when we are hearing from Innoson this morning. Because we have been hearing a lot of things online and watching a lot of things about the issue. According to what man is saying now, I don't think there's any fault in this issue. What GTB Bank is doing, I think the two of them have business together. They are trying to settle between each other. But I listened to one of your programs, I think on Saturday interview or Sunday interview, which this man was interviewed after about 3 or 4 weeks ago. And your reporter asked him about the case with the GTB Bank and he explained, which I listened to. Now, starting from the beginning, EFCC is not involved in this issue. It's between GTB Bank and Innoson.
Yeah.
That to court. And when they come to deliver an judgment, what a little bit Innocent of this back, they're trying to deliver the judgment now. They now brought EFCC to the case. Again, which the case is already in the court. I think we have to come out and let us know what is happening. I especially EFCC they know about this more than we do.
Yeah, I agree. Many thanks. These are troublous times for everybody in this country.
Yes.
And opinion leaders have a big job of helping mold healthy opinions.
Yes.
It's important.
Yes. And the fact that it was a commercial transaction, okay, which is a civil matter really, ordinarily, you understand, at the point EFCC waded into it, one will be asking what was the criminal element or financial crime element or economic crime element that is in this case, really. That's one question we should be asking the EFCC. EFCC need to also come and tell their side of the story, because apart from GT Bank and Innoson, the story is also revolving very strongly on EFCC, that this is a commercial transaction for which EFCC have no jurisdiction. So, but if there is an element of crime in it, where is it coming from and who is responsible?
Let me take Reverend Dominic in Alimosho, Lagos here. Reverend, Merry Christmas to you.
Thank you, Citizen Jones. How are you today?
I'm fine, and you?
Fine.
Let's go.
Citizen Jones, look at my own worry in this issue. If the international community is watching, and every day we hear the governors, our president going to woo international investors, I don't know how they will judge us if a business transaction has ended this way. Number 2, Citizen John, we must be careful how to analyze this matter. I listened about this issue in the floor of Senate. The way the Senate handled it, or the parliamentary handled it, give me a great concern. Every time there's an issue in Nigeria, we brought the politician into it. Whether the man from east or from west, it's irrelevant. If there's a business transaction between two people and they're not agreeing, the next person that could intervene legally is the police or the law enforcement agency. There's no wrong about that. Number 2, EFCC must, throw discussion according to the lawyer they to do. Innocent is well known to them. Innocent is not a Dominic who is not known. There's a way they could go for that arrest, not early in the morning. They could go in the afternoon to remove suspicion. But that EFCC is working for GTB, I totally disagree with you on that.
Okay.
EFCC is a very legal body. If they shouldn't take sides, and I don't think they took sides, we shouldn't bring that issue at all. Intimidation. When two businessmen have problems, the next person will go to police. When husband and wife has problems, the person will go to police. You won't say somebody's taking side there, sitting in church.
Reverend Dominic, because of your exalted position, it's important how you intercede here. I don't expect you to heat the already charged atmosphere. Thank you.
No.
Yeah? Okay. What I forgot to ask Chief Innoson Chukwuma was this. Shipping documents were in the custody of the bank, and Innoson asked the bank officials to release the documents. That's having to do with the bill of lading, and without payment of an agreed 25% equity. There was a 25% payment agreed upon before the documents could be released.
Yes.
The bank declined the release, but the documents were got. I'm saying this because it is suspected that Chief Innoson Chukwuma is viewing in. I forgot to ask him that. How the documents got released and you got the goods cleared, it remains a mystery here.
Well, I think he will be in the best position to answer that.
Yeah,
because
I said
we're only trying to just state the fact as we see it coming. Okay, so the bank will also have to explain. That is why, like the caller who said that GT Bank need to come out and explain their part of the matter.
That's what we owe the caller, the viewer. Yes. We owe Nigerians that. We'll attempt to get GT Bank involved in the whole saga,
yes.
Just so we lay an aspect of it to rest.
Yes.
We are not lawyers, excepting you here. So that the EFCC has no business in this matter is a little contentious. We are talking, it is the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission.
Yes.
If there is a breach of contract, doesn't it fall within the purview of the EFCC?
It doesn't fall within the purview of the EFCC,
okay.
Except there is a suspicion, okay, reasonable suspicion that someone within a commercial transaction has committed an offense, an economic crime, maybe a fraudulent activity, or receiving money through advance-free fraud or all that. It is only when there's that reasonable suspicion or somebody is caught to have done that and the person is reported to EFCC that ordinarily, if a commercial transaction between two persons or between a company and a person is a civil matter, completely civil. And that is why they went to court on grounds of a civil matter, okay? So how EFCC waded into this was the question I asked, that when did the economic crime occur, or when did the financial crime occur?
We'll go there, but let me take Joseph in Bida, Niger State. Joshua, please feel welcome.
Good morning, Citizen Jones.
I greet you, sir.
Good morning.
Happy Christmas and happy Boxing Day.
May God bless your Christmas.
Really?
Yeah.
Welcome. Yes, sir. My contribution this morning goes this way. Citizen Jones and the guests in the house, you discover that this nation is a nation filled with a lot of illegality. I don't see any reason why a case that is in the court of law, the EFCC will now go in a Gastapoli manner, to a house of another citizen to arrest the person like if he's a criminal, or if he has been confirmed that he actually did anything wrong to warrant such arrest.
Yeah.
So you discover what has really happened. Is a pointer that lawlessness and illegality rules in this very nation. There are a lot of things that have happened that will even change the prospective investors from investing in this very nation.
Yeah, let me quickly ask you this before you retire.
Yes, sir.
Is it not a matter for deep worry and concern that terms of transactions can be breached by Nigerians before you talk about this Gestapo thing?
But what really gave us a sense of concern was, there was a program that Innoson, are you getting it? There was an interview he was granted by Joken Lijato. And he claimed that these people went to his account minus a very huge sum of money. And he has been paying them interest for a very long time. And this time around, that is why he asked them to pay him about 4 billion. Are you getting it? So we don't even know who to believe. Are we to believe the GTB?
That's it. That's where let's draw the conclusion, the chat to a conclusion. Nobody knows the real truth. Thank you for calling. We'll take this break and return. Quite a lot to talk about. Okay, welcome back. Innoson, the EFCC arrest and the GT Bank involvement. The issues are so many and variegated. I still have Evans Ufeli, an attorney at law, guessing here. Evans, before the break, let me tell you, the police got involved in the whole saga.
Yes.
They went forensic and all, and they returned a verdict like this: an alleged falsification of bank endorsement to the bill of lading, which I mentioned before the break, and forged signatures of 4 staffs of the bank, Taufik Olalere, Danata, Bumi Adeyemi, and Amazu Amalachuku. The police said, yes, the signatures were forged. So at what point does it become an economic crime or financial crime?
Well, you have economic or financial crime in a commercial transaction where there's a reasonable suspicion that, some or either party had, used either fraudulent means, okay, or either party has subverted the order illegally or criminally to obtain either money or to obtain certain interest or value. That is where it's either it has happened or there's a reasonable suspicion that is about to happen, upon which you can now say, okay, the EFCC will now have cover by law to investigate the matter.
A natural question would be, a follow-up is, at what point does the suspicion become very heavy? The police, I say for the umpteenth time, was involved, and the police confirmed that the signatures were forged and the clearance of the goods were also forged.
Yeah, that is what I said. That is the findings of the police force or the law enforcement agency. But it doesn't really end there, because upon that, the next thing is...
hold on. Okay. Chief Innocent is back on the phone.
Okay.
Chief, I greet you. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Yeah. Now, the bank declined releasing shipping documents to you at a point, right?
Yes.
Why?
Okay, because the shipping documents will say that I should pay 25%, which I have paid.
And they
which I have paid, and I wrote one letter, one single letter, said, ladies, they have been releasing the shipping documents to me for more than 10 years that way. I wrote a letter, issued the duty receipt to this social care agent, and endorsed the original shipping documents to him. And that is the letter they used to pay the duty, they used to release the shipping documents. It's one letter. Now they agree that they pay the duty, but they didn't release it. Do they pay the duty for what? It's only one letter they used to do this thing. And it was registered in their registered book. Confirmed, everybody signed, and they released the shipping documents to care agent. If there is nothing that caused them that they will not release, they will tell me, but they release. Nobody forged any signature. The shipping company confirmed that the signature were not forged. That is the original one, and it was released truly the way we are releasing.
Chief, was the police involved in all of this?
Yes.
All right.
Okay, that's good.
Okay.
EFCC started this matter, but when EFCC discovered that the legislature they're supposed to bring, they did not bring it. They said the legislature got burned. They abandoned, they withdraw the matter from court. EFCC withdraw the matter from court because of that. I said, They cannot withdraw. They will discharge it. I got to appeal on it. We are on appeal on it. They leave everything and went to police. Police also started the investigation again, going for forensic. When I tell them about the register, they are going to forensic. Finally, when IG Abubakar called us and interviewed, I told them that they registered the document and it was registered in their register book.
Yeah.
Abubakar asked them to bring the register book. They confirmed that the register has got fire, that is not available again.
All right.
Yeah, Abubakar withdraw.
Okay. Chief, do you remember these names? Taufik Olalere, Danata, Bumi Adeyemi, and Amazu?
All those names you are calling, I don't know any of them. Who is my account officer? Is Okechukwu Okeke. And Okechukwu Okeke was give statement in the police that the documents was released the same way they are releasing my document. He said, why can't they bring the person who we deal with the arrest? Okechukwu Okeke, the account officer. He confirmed that it was all the procedure was done well in the police statement. Why can't they bring it? This Alala does not know me, and I don't know him. I didn't know anything about him. So they just brought somebody and saying what to say.
Okay. Okay, so simply put, this is a case of one party in the transaction misunderstanding the other.
Come again.
Is this a case of one party in the transaction misunderstanding the other party?
Well, I feel that immediately this MD of the bank came in because of the former MD is doing well with our company. So most of us that is doing well with he doesn't want us, he just wants to destroy us and nothing more.
Chukuma, that cannot be totally true.
That's what I think that's happening.
It's what you are thinking, but thank you for your time.
Thank you.
There was a change of guards, Evans, at the bank.
Yeah.
So apparently the man before the new one was a good pharaoh, yes, in the words of Chukuma. This next one is a bad pharaoh.
Yeah,
if you understand
from what he's saying, he's trying to impute the fact that the new person now in the bank is not happy or is not perhaps friendly, yeah, with them in this transaction, with the business transaction they do. I mean, if he is saying that we don't know the details of how he got to that conclusion, but whether someone is friendly or not, the law is still the law. Business transaction is a business transaction. Yeah. Commercial transactions are civil transactions, okay? And whether someone is not happy with the other person,
does not really matter.
It does not really matter because the law hasn't changed. So what matters here is that we have to look at the issue beyond what both parties are saying, yeah, and look at what the law is saying, and look at the fact that even corporate organizations in Nigeria should be careful. Corporate organization, because all the while, you know, we've had issues with most, apart from that particular bank, there are other banks who also customers have had issues with some of the times. Over time. And I think that the only way that the financial institutions can redeem this is for them to act honestly. You know, if there's a transaction that has gone, you apologize and pay whatever it is you are supposed to pay. And for the customer also, should be patient. Because when a customer begins to whip up sentiment, ethnic and religious sentiment, and people are now saying, it's witch hunting, it's vindictiveness, yeah, there's rancor and all that, it paints a picture
it's typically Nigerian or, yes, African, if you like. Yeah. Tanko is in Taraba, is interested in this matter. Tanko, welcome.
Thank you.
Morning, welcome.
Good morning.
Yeah, let's go.
Please, I'm trying to inquire something from this, your talk. As a layman, I want to understand if actually the EFCC has right to go and arrest someone while case is still going on the court without a court order.
There's a lawyer here. Yeah. Are you done?
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
Well, EFCC have no such rights. EFCC can only arrest where there is a warrant of arrest, or search when there is the warrant to that effect, okay? But apart from that, which is compliance with law, EFCC have right when there's reasonable suspicion. that someone has committed
underline that
an offense.
reasonable suspicion.
But what is reasonable suspicion?
Yeah.
It's not defined by law. It is
nebulous.
Yes, it's nebulous. That is why the police uses that a lot. Sometimes they abuse it because, I mean, the police force is an extension of the EFCC is an extension of the police force. So they use that window blanket, flexible, blanket of the law sometimes to subvert, suspects. You understand? And there is a problem we have in Nigeria. Once a person goes to court, police before you, goes to the EFCC before you, once a person is a complainant or the petitioner, there is this belief that the suspect is culpable, is guilty.
First come, first serve.
Yes. Now you hear things like, don't you know that we are the complainant? As if that makes your petition, unquestionable.
Yeah.
So we should change that.
Wale in Ogun State has joined us. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
I greet you.
Yeah. There are two issues here, sir.
Mm-hmm.
The EFCC and a commercial transaction that has gotten a court pronouncement. Let him abandon the issue of the first. GT must pay the pronouncement made by the court. Once that one is addressed, then we cannot look at the economic matter. As it is now, over a video by GT Bank to the man. That is what he should focus on. Doing talk with the EFCC, or whether he was arrested or not, let that be a secondary issue. The primary issue is a bank has defaulted in paying what a court has made a pronouncement on.
Yeah.
So let the court pay, let them pay the man. There's a common trend in Nigeria now. Banks are just charging people illegally. What kind of mistake is that? The man is taking a facility. It's an IFF thing. So 5% equity interest has been paid. The document will now be endorsed by the bank to the man. It's a normal transaction. Every bank can know that. So the idea now is that let him apply for his billions from the commercial bank. Let them pay that first. Then yes, cannot go ahead and do whatever economic kind of must have committed.
Thank you. Evans, there's such a thing as a line of least resistance.
Yes.
Is that the line to toe by Innocent Chukwuma at this point in time?
Well, I really don't know how to relate that to this matter because what the man is saying is that he has not offended any law. He has not, that he was just, the EFCC just came upon him. You understand that? The bank is supposed to be the one, apologizing to him or do, the needful. Okay, the specific performance that for which the court has ordered them and all that. And what I think should be done now is that the bank must find a way to reconcile with the customer because, I mean, on business parlance, we say the customer is always right, even though that is not the law. Okay?
That's not the law. It may be stupid, naive.
Yes, the law cannot absorb that because the law needs evidence to clarify things.
I'll take Mukhtar in Kano. Welcome. Merry Christmas to you, Mukhtar.
Hello. Good morning.
Welcome, sir.
Let me contribute something on what you are discussing on the Innoson motors.
Do.
You see, when the chairman approached GTB, nobody knows. What they discussed, nobody knows. And we are only hearing his own part, neglecting the GTB and neglecting the EFCC.
Yeah.
So he's only saying his mind, maybe right, maybe wrong.
Yeah.
So if you like, it's like a media trial. They are supposed to be get along to be fair to them. Otherwise, if we only hear one side, it means we are trying to favor him.
Yeah, Mukhtar.
Because there is no smoke without fire.
Yeah. Mukhtar, we understand that. And on this station, at TVC, we don't media try anybody. And we were not asked before we established contact with Innocent. We owe you this, going to GTB on the one hand and the EFCC on the other. We can't do that. Yeah, so.
Yeah, so like I said, there must be a way to reconcile parties. And this must be initiated by GT Bank because they are the ones who are serving the public. So they must make sure that if I were to be in GT Bank, that is what I will opt for. I will opt for alternative dispute resolution. Yeah. Let's resolve this, let's withdraw this, let's resolve and get to court and present our terms of settlement and let there be consent judgment.
Let's just say here, if the GT Bank is interested, and why not, it is free to call in. The number is on display at the screen. Please take advantage before we make it official. I'm interested in talking with all parties involved here. Yes. So you know, the man, Mukhtar just told you, and I, that when they started putting signatures to the dotted lines, we never knew.
Yes.
Until something went awry.
Yes.
And here we are talking about it. Yes. And then appealing to sentiments, some of them banal.
Yes.
You begin to say, how can any bank set out to destroy a promising business like Innoson Motors? I'm still fighting that in my mind.
Yeah, those are the questions, okay? And that is why if there's public perception to the effect that a bank opted to do that, it is the responsibility of the bank to make the public understand that that is never the intention, and that is by reaching out to Innoson Motors and reconcile.
Because if Innoson Motors progresses, the bank gains.
Yes.
We have Ibrahim at Yaba in Lagos here. Ibrahim, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Yeah. Merry Christmas. Yeah. Let's go.
Merry Christmas to you. Good morning. My take on the issue at the moment is I think it's about 2 or 3 different contractual agreements that is going bad there. The first one is the issue of pulling money from Chief Innocent's account. And
allegedly
pulling money from Chief Innocent's account, which they went to court for, and the court said, okay, you need to pay the book money back with interest at 22%. Even if GT is not complying with this court order, I believe there would have been an appeal. At this point, we are not in the loop, or we are not in the know if GT actually appeal this, and this is the reason GT has not paid back the money with interest, the alleged money.
Ibrahim, you might be interested in this. The case has gotten to the apex court, so let's allow the law take its course.
Okay, agreed.
Yeah. Thank you. You know, so appealing to these sentiments is what bothers me here. How can, so somebody had said earlier on, a caller, that it appears the EFCC is against businesses that are booming, more so south of the southeast of the Niger.
Yeah, I don't think I will accept that because it's unreasonable. EFCC as an institution was not created for that purpose, to clamp down on businesses from a particular region. That's not what it is. That's not what the law instituted that commission to achieve. And if there are persons there who possibly people want to say that the people abuse power and they are doing that, I still don't want to accept that because it's unreasonable.
All right.
It doesn't make any sense, really.
Aliu is in Kano. He has reached us. Aliu, how do you do?
I want to contribute my own quota with regard to this chief and EFCC.
Yeah, go on.
Though it is one part of the anti-corruption fight episode, because I regarded the war against corruption as an episode. My own opinion is that the EFCC should, since Chief has claimed that he has not been invited to the EFCC, and I know there is no way an agency like EFCC can invite you verbally. So according to the EFCC, after people decide the official, the letter written to Chief, the invitation, so that to clear the issue, because this issue taking a travel and religious, travel and religious, how would I like it? Travel is posing a threat to national security, in the sense that people, Nigerians, laymen on the street can easily related to travel settlement that can easily cause problem to national security. So I'm appealing to the EFCC as well as the GT Bank to come out and make it clear to the public, so that this issue will be clear to all.
Yeah.
Secondly, if it is possible, let GT Bank, EFCC, and Chief resolve their issue amicably without going to court. Let them settle this issue outside the court.
Aliu, they are already there. They are already there. They are already in court. And so you can only expect that the court would, in its wisdom, deliver a judgment that would be agreeable to all parties. Evans, he had just talked about this, a thing like this, invoking or promoting bad blood. The bad blood is what worries me again.
It worries because that is why you see cases like this deepens our divide. You know, because people are already of the opinion that it is because the businessman is from the east, and therefore people have
the EFCC from the north.
From the north, and people have even mobilized some people to go and close their accounts in the bank.
Yeah,
and this is a very dangerous. I mean, this is deeper than even the normal political ethnic settlement that we are dealing with. When it gets to this point where we now have it unfettered on economic matter that is supposed to promote the growth of Nigeria. You know, if you look at the bank itself, you have employees from the east, from the north, from every part of the country.
Yeah.
If you look at EFCC, you have employees from every part of the country. But now when we create this kind of issue, then at the end of the day, I believe we don't get there where businessmen will now only employ people from their own. That will create a lot of problem for us.
Evans, Chinedu is in Abuja. Let's take him. Welcome, Chinedu.
Yeah, good morning.
Merry Christmas.
Yes, sir. I want to contribute. Hello?
You are on, sir.
I want to contribute. Hello?
You are on, sir. Go on. So this divides, we can't afford a second round.
We can't really afford it when it comes to economic matter. We've not been able to manage the political angle to it where...
So otherwise we're not saying if the offender is east, west, north, we must be careful in going after him.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
I'm just laying it on the table.
No, if we do that, we're going to weaken the institutions. If we say because a person is from South North, therefore the institution should now devise a means for which you arrest somebody in the South and also be careful to arrest somebody in the North so that you don't create this, we weaken the institution. They will not be able to perform at all. Let's place it on the basis of merit, on the basis of law, on the basis of evidence and investigation. That is what it should be. So, because if we get to that level where we are now, have to take in religious and ethnic settlement before we carry out official function of an institution, it is going to be very devastating. Because one, it will weaken the institution. Two, it will even create discord among staffers of the institution. You understand? It will also create problem for us. So now we're already battling with insecurity. Okay. So we should not add to it. We should not begin to create new forms and layers of discord. So that's what I think.
Let's go to Rome in Italy. Iziogu is waiting. Merry Christmas to you.
Good morning.
How are you, sir?
Fine, thank you very much.
I'm
so glad to hear from you people this morning on this issue.
Okay, then.
The issue of GTB and Innoson, it has been a volatile issue since the arrest of Chief Innoson Chukwuma. It has been volatile in the country. And we ourselves, issue of, not a zero, issue of, however, it's okay, no problem. I saw the mistake in the name that is written there, issue of. However, what I want to chip in is this. You see, Innoson Motors and the GT Bank, they are all private institutions operating in the country, registered, and they employ a lot of people that are working under them. Then, if they have this problem between both of them, and the case is in court, what we are asking is this. Why should the EFCC go to Enugu, bundle this gentleman to Abuja for an arrest, whereas the case is in court? This is this is the issue we are asking Nigeria.
Okay.
Yeah, like the question he raised, ordinarily, EFCC is not supposed to wade into this matter. I've said it before. First is a commercial transaction. Two is in court. Okay. And, you know, EFCC is not supposed to be there. But the point at which they found...
You're closing.
Yeah, the point at which they found that reasonable suspicion upon which they assume jurisdiction is what is not defined in this case. So their presence in the matter, they need to come out and clarify at what point did you assume jurisdiction, given that this is a commercial civil transaction. At what point did you come in? At what point did you find out that either party have committed an offense for which you have to assume jurisdiction? That is one. Okay, they have to explain. Then the GT Bank will also have to explain to Nigerians what happened with the funds of a customer of that Innoson and how did they go about it, what went wrong, what really was, you know, the issue there. So until we hear from these two sides, we cannot draw any kind of conclusion as regards what happened. And ultimately, I also think that GT Bank should look for a way to reconcile with the man, given that he's a customer and he's supposed to be.
And why not? Evans Ofeli, let's thank you for coming this Boxing Day. Yeah, please enjoy the rest of your day.
You're welcome.
If you can send the bills to us. All right, that's it. We must go, but on this note, Innoson got into troubled waters because a transaction between Innoson and GT Bank went awry, and so we are having to wash dirty linens in public. But in the meantime, care must be taken so emotions are not fanned roughly or freely, because it's our country. We want to be law-abiding. Business transactions follow particular courses. Let's keep our sides of the bargain. Bye-bye now. Enjoy the rest of your holiday.